Hello and welcome back. We're going to put the roof on this house. Just kind of give you an idea of what's going to happen here. In your handout, this is what the roof looks like. It's a large hip roof system, covers the second floor, very few windows. We made some changes to where the floors are, and when we created the floor plan, the dimensions we're given are not always the most exact, and the pitches aren't given. That's mainly done on publications so that you don't do what we're doing as reproducing a house exactly like what was done by this designer. And so there's things that are different, which means to create this roof exactly like it is not possible for us to do. But it gives us an idea of where we can go with it and what we can do as options to it. So let's go ahead and jump in and start creating this roof. It will look different, but I think the outcome will be better. So here's where we're at with our house, all of our walls and everything. We're going to go to the main low floor line. I'm going to start here with what's going to be the lower roof, the roof over the main floor. So to do that, I'm going to go into the architecture tab and the roof families. Then we get our green ribbons back up. I'm going to set a check mark in define slope, my overhang to 1.5 feet. Your overhang needs to be greater than 6 inches and less than 30 inches. That's usually a good rule of thumb to follow. And I usually do not extend it to the core while I'm designing it, mainly because I want to be able to have some flexibility and make some changes to it. Now, everything we do and every little change we make is drastically affects everything. So as we go through here, just keep in mind that when we do make modifications, they can affect where our walls are and they can affect the overall look. So now we're ready to draw our roof. Now we can do the automatic wall select tool. We have to pick the lines, we can trace it, we can follow the shapes, all that's still in play. We do need to change the base level, so it's not on the floor, but it's on the main level top plate. And this is where the roof sits, is right on that top plate. Then we're going to just go along and select walls. So I'm going to go here. I want this back porch area, patio. I want that covered, so I'm going to skip this wall and go right to the far right vertical wall. And I'm going to go ahead and corner tool those together. So now that's just one big roof system. Then go back to my automatic wall select tool and work a way around each of these elements here. Now I do want, again, the front porch covered, so I'm not going to go into the alcove. I'm going to jump over and then corner that back to here, and then fix this corner here while I'm at it. It's good to kind of fix as you go. Then back to select walls, work around the garage, and back into the side, back out, and then I'm going to go around this bay window. Now, it very well may be that we increase the size of this bay because we've got just a little bit of space there. And I'm going to just square it off. I'm not going to clip the corners. I'm going to just keep it nice and simple. So back to corner tool. I want this to go all the way up to this horizontal and then corner down. Take this one out to the vertical and then bring that around. So just a little bop out there. Now, like I said, we may exaggerate that more because it will make the roof system work better, but we'll just see how it works. And I need to go ahead and click on fix these. And I'm going to go ahead and do a modifying right now, and I'm going to select the whole thing. And right now my default is that this is a 9 and 12 pitched or sloped roof. And I'm going to drop that down to 6 and 12. In Utah, we usually see the averages between 4 and 6 on those slopes. If you get really crazy with it, you can go higher. But I'm going to keep it lower right now, mainly because it works a little easier with the second floor system. Makes it so you can see things a little better. If you then do shingles, you cannot go less than 3. Once you go less than 3, you have to go with either a gravel roof or a built-up roof system. So we don't want to go too steep there. And if you're doing something like slate or clay tile, you don't want to go more than 6. 6 is your max on those. Otherwise, the weight just kind of pulls them off. All right, so we get it all set in. We hit the check mark. It disappears, and that's because it's above our head. So we're going to now go ahead and go into 3D view, and that's to show us where that is. Now, if we look, it's going inside of our second floor as well, and that's because we didn't take anything out. And that's okay. It lets us work here in the front and get things cleaned up a little bit on this lower level. So, for instance, my wall's a little higher here. Is kind of playing around with some items. If I am an owner and I have a snowy environment, with this slope on the front of this garage, that means that rain and snow is all going to pool in front of that garage and that driveway. It can make it really slippery. You can keep this type of roof, but you do have to put in a rain gutter system if you do that. And I just rather not have to deal with extra snow that I don't want to shovel. So I'm going to fix this roof first. So I'm going to turn that just a little bit so you can see what's happening here. And notice we've got this little valley that's happening back in here, which is fine. It's doable. We just have to fix the front. So I'm going to select the roof. Go up to the top and hit Edit Footprint. I'm going to select this very front edge of the magenta line that represents the roof. And I'm going to remove that slope. Just take that off and then hit the check mark again and see if that solves my problem. And there's now a gable there. This still works. It's still very buildable, very much works along what I'm going with. And so I'm going to go ahead and leave that the way it is now. So this is a good solution to what I'm dealing with. We'll come back and fix this in a minute. This is a pretty good steep slope going through here. We'll see what happens when I take things out. Same thing here. I want this to be a little bit of a gable. Hey! Okay, I apologize for that. I had a couple of visitors. So now I've got our roof at this point. We need to start working on cleaning some things up. So we're over here in the library. We're going to adjust that roof next. So I'm going to go ahead and select the roof. And again, Edit Footprint. And we're going to turn this into a gable as well. So I'm going to remove the slope from the side here. And from this side here. I'm going to go up here, and so I can remove that slope from either the green bar or in the properties. Take that one off. And now it's to say it's got a little bit of a problem. So we're going to hit a save here. So notice what happened here is when I take that slope off of the sides, it's creating a shed roof. Whoa, that one kind of wigged out there. So that shed roof.
Helen Brown, will you call the main office, 4350, Helen Brown.
Apologize for that again. Kind of breaks the kip on the side here. So we're going to go in again and we're going to reinstate those. So we're going to select the roof, add the footprint, select the side, and hold the control key down, do both sides at the same time, and put that back in on the sides. And now remove the slope from the front of that area and let it slope side to side instead of front to back. So now it won't be a shed roof anymore. It's now a gable. And it's a gable that can actually be worked into the slope. And so again, we're watching has that adjusting itself and fitting in there. We do have a little problem with this window over here. We're going to work on that as we go. And look at those sides. So that gives us a gable over the garage, a gable over the library, not over the dining room, unless I choose to create one over the dining room. And that's an option that is available to you, and we'll look at that as well. But I want to look at this main slope issue, is we can have multiple slopes. So the main roof, the whole system is at 6 and 12. If I take and drop the whole thing down, say to 5 and 12, so just one little inch there, and that drops it pretty drastically across the roof system itself. If I drop it one more to a 4, and again, I'm not going to go all the way to a 3 because, again, that gets into some water issues, and we're this level. Now I have a very much a flatter roof, more walls showing from the second floor, but there's a couple things else we can do. We can now start playing with those slopes. So if I come back in and edit my footprint here one more time, and I take the sides of the garage, for example, and I turn those back to a 6. So I lowered the whole thing down. Now I'm going to go back to a 6 on one set of roof lines. What that does is it kind of breaks up my roof line a little bit. So my two different slopes here is shifted it from being predominantly on the left now to predominantly on the right as it does that, which from the front view doesn't change your front view a little bit, but it does change how things are sloping. Okay, we're going to do the same thing over here on the library and see what we can do with that one. Again, edit that footprint, take the two sides, change those to a 6, and see how that adjusts. Again, we're looking at what's going mainly over the porch here to see what that'll do for us. Okay, and we get a new shift in the system there a little better cornering here, comes down. But now we have multiple pitches, and that gives a little more interest. So we have a high and a lower, and then we have the roof going on behind. Okay, so it just gives you a little bit more variety in your roof when you mix your pitches and slopes. You just have to pay attention and see if it's going to allow that to happen. Okay, so that's kind of an important thing to keep in track of. Okay, now what we're going to do next is I'm going to cut out the second floor from the roof. So I'm going to select the roof and then go to the upper level floor line, add the footprint there so we can still see it from below. And we're going to go back into select the walls on this roof. I'm going to remove the slope and I'm going to remove the overhang. So the overhang is 0. And then we're just going to go and pick the walls of the second floor. And it's just a very simple way, kind of like when you did your carpeting and your flooring. We're just picking those walls to create the outline. And we're doing it in a way that is quite simple and straightforward. And so we don't have to do too much more than just select. And when we do a profile or a boundary, and then another boundary on the inside, the second boundary is going to create a slope. Now, I do have to fix this line here because that one cannot be. Not sure quite where that came from, but we'll take that one off. And so you have a shape in the shape. Make sure that you are connected at all those corners. If you miss one, the software will tell you. It's pretty good at that. So we'll do a check. And then we'll go back to our 3D. And now, when we look at our roof, the roof ends at the walls. There's nothing on the inside. We can now look at what our house is looking like. And all of a sudden now, this window, because of lowering that slope, now works. It's over the stairway. I've got a little bit of an issue back here in that room, but we can now add additional windows if need be to our house. Now I said I wasn't going to, but this is being at slope here. It's mixed, so I can't see the slope exactly. So I may come back in and do some adjusting to that. But let's go ahead and fix our gables first. And we're going to do a couple things here. One is I've got these walls that are extended up high, and I want those to be at the roof line. So I'm going to start by taking the walls here in the library, or the dining room, and I'm just going to, when I go in and select that wall, I'm going to find this offset and remove it back to 0, where it's up a little elevated in height. That's going to be the easiest. That one's at 6 feet, so we'll drop that one down. Hopefully. I'll take this one. And they're not dropping, so what we're going to do is we're going to do attach top base and select the roof and let the roof be what trims them down. So they're no longer attached to some other element that's in there. And that's going to clean that up nicely. This front here over the library, We then definitely need to drop that back to where it should be. And that was a 3 foot, so we'll change that. And that looks good there. And then we're going to do the same thing on the sides. And if I type correctly, that'll be great. And again, the same thing here. We're going to do attach top base, select the roof, select the wall, attach top base, select the roof. And again, you can hold the control key and do multiple roofs at one time. Now, we do have an opening in there. You can just kind of fly right in through the top. What we want to do is put in a filler on there. And what we're going to do is put in a wall that is like the siding above. So mainly because I don't want to cut every brick as it goes along here. And I just noticed something as I went around the side that those walls are really kind of low here on this bay. So I'm going to fix those by selecting the windows to attach top base, select the roof, and move those up. And so if I want to do all of those, I'll get in there and I'll select, and then control key, and work my way around, and try and get them all. There we go. And do attach top base, select the roof. And so you can have the walls go up, you can have them go down, but that's a really good way of making sure everything's connected. And again, I do have the choice here on this roof as well, that if we choose to, we can make it a gable on the side by just removing the slope in the front and letting that be gabled out. Gives a different little look to it, a little more effect. And again, you can change the slope pitch on these as well if you want a little more height. It just really depends upon what you are wanting on your roof at this point, and which you feel would be a better match for your style. If you want to try to tie things in that way, where it's just covering this one outcropping, you may want to leave it the way it was, and that's completely fine. That's up to you. It just depends what you like to look at on there, but either is fine. So your choices on that one. Okay, now that I've got this, I'm going to draw a wall against the same wall that I used on the second floor, 2x6 with siding, and bring it here. Now I've already done that, so I'm going to bring them back up. I kind of hid them. So I'm going to come in and bring those back into play. And I'm just going to select those two and unhide those elements. And then select my little light bulb here again and put those in between. Now this one I'm going to adjust. I'm going to drop it down where it should be. And then you've seen this dotted line. That means that this has already been attached to a roof wall. So we want to get those in the right spot. This one I've already adjusted earlier so that it is in fact ready to go for the garage. But this guy, he needs to be put down in his place a little bit, so to speak. So he's then down the middle, top plate. Got base offset there. We're going to take that out, drop it down. And then we're going to realign, attach top base to the new roof line from one that I was using earlier. And just trim that whole thing real quick. And there it is. So now I have the siding into the gable ends of the roof. It's a lot more economical to do it that way than to try and cut each brick to match the slope of the roof. And it's not a bad look. Okay. All right, that leaves me the second floor roof to put in. So we're going to do the upper level floor line. I'm going to hide the underlay of the main floor just because I want to focus on what's going on with my upper roof. You'll see these roofs that come up to match the roof, the walls that come to match the roof, they're showing below. That's fine. They're not going to bother what we're doing. So we're going to go architecture, go back to our roof, put our overhang back in of 1.5 feet, put the slope back on, Make sure we got it all there. We're going to go automatic wall, and we're just going to go around and pick the perimeter as if we did before. And just again, I think I did 2 there. That's going to be bad if I did. It will surely warn me and yell at me a little bit, probably scream a lot. Just coming around these walls, and if you stay contiguous, it stays all there. We're back to 9 and 12. I'm going to leave it at that for right now. I'm going to set this to the upper floor top plate, not main floor, that'd be too low. Upper floor top plate, and apply that. We'll check that off, and we'll go look and see what we did there. Okay, now the walls are taller because they were created with, I think, about 3'8" extra in there. Yep, 3'8". So they're just from a template prior. But there is my roof structure now going up and above, and I need to drop the walls down. So we're going to select the wall. I'm going to control and select each of them, or multiples, at least as many as I can get to cooperate. And if you need to come back and do them individually, that's fine too. It's just a matter of how you want to work and how non-shaky you are today, depending on how much caffeine you've had this morning. Just like so. So they're all selected. And then I'm going to go attach top base, select the roof that's involved, and now they're all dropped down where they should be. And now I can go through, and I need to fix that corner, looks like. So now I can look at what I want to do with this roof and how I want that to be addressed a little separate. First, I'm going to go in and do most of my editing here. While hips are nice, I'm going to start with making a few of these into gables. So we're going to edit the footprint. And this one, I'm going to remove there. And I think here on this little pop out, remove that one. Let's take a look at what that looks like. Always check before you go on. Now, because we trimmed the walls to the main roof, they're going to automatically match whatever we do here now. So from the front view, again, it's a little steeper roof pitch. It's at 9 instead of something else. So if we go here, I'm going to drop it down a little bit. We'll go down to 6 and see if that makes a difference in how it feels. And maybe feels a little more proportional to what you might want. There's some other things we could do on this. For instance, we could put another gable here. And so instead of going with gable this, and we'll gable this, take those out. It's going to be a completely different look than what was original to the plan of the house. But what it does allow is the introduction of more windows to get some more light up there. And again, that's kind of where you're at this point, is what does it look, what looks good to you, and can it be built? So that's where the look of this house is going to go. It's going to be a little more on the contemporary ranch style of home rather than what it was before. I'm not totally sold on this line here, but it does work well, and it may be that I change the slope a little bit on this side. Maybe that'll make a bigger difference. And by that, we go in here, take this one, and maybe drop them to, say, 4, so they're a different slope than the rest of the house. And we go back to our front view and see if that makes a difference. And that's a lot cleaner line than what was there before. So, I mean, you choose. It's what you want to do. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this video here on roofing. And when you come back, I will have added some additional windows in to the walls, and we'll go from there. Thanks. See you soon.